You've heard the phrase mentioned in the Bible where it said, the Lord stirred their spirit. He stirred my spirit. It was like there was a blender whirling around inside of me. I could barely sit in the pew. I didn't have any clue what a person did on a mission trip, but I knew I had to go. I was single, and my kids were younger, and I thought, isn't that irresponsible? Isn't it irresponsible for a single mother to go off to the other side of the world and leave her children? And one day I was off work, and I was just praying and fasting and in the Word, trying to get some clear guidance on this, and the Lord gave me this verse, Isaiah 40:11. Like a good shepherd, he gathers the lambs in his arms and gently leads those with young. One afternoon we were traveling somewhere. We were on a bus, and I was just sitting on the bus looking out the window, not really thinking about anything in particular, and I just felt a bubble of God's peace settle over me. It was tangible. And I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And I'll admit I argued a bit. I said, but Lord, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a nurse. I thought only teachers and nurses could be missionaries. I'm divorced. That's not going to happen. And it was like I heard the Lord said, what, am I not enough? And so I knew for that moment, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know how it would happen. But I knew I was called to India, that's where I was supposed to be. The thing that they really, really need is to know that somebody cares about them. They've poured their lives into raising their family, and then they get thrown out of the house by their own son. That's devastating for a mother. And once she becomes a widow, even if she does stay in the house, she's expected to eat only once a day. She has to keep out of sight. She's not to cross the path of anybody because she's inauspicious, because they count it as her own bad karma is why her husband died. They don't have that. No one wants to touch them. They're unlucky. They're inauspicious. No one wants to touch them. They're not welcome even at a family's wedding or birth of a baby. They're not welcome because they're bad luck. No one says I love you. No one gives them a pat on the back. And I think that it's really, really important for them to know that somebody knows their name and would notice if they were dead. And so they need Jesus, obviously, because I think you can take your time with the children, like the orphanages work, and tell them the Bible stories and ease them into it. But these ladies, when they're 80 years old, they don't have a lot of time. You don't know how much time you've got. They don't have time for patience and easing into it. So much of the time we think of doing missions as building a house or building a church or a hospital or having a medical camp or doing something like that. But then what they really need is Jesus. You don't want to focus on this and leave off Jesus. But if you come to tell them about Jesus and you don't demonstrate your love for him, your love for them, his love for them. I mean, it's kind of got to be both. But my primary reason for going is because it's so important. This is real. It's real. And I want them to know. And to me, since I've been there so many times, it's like my second home. I have friends there who are like family, and it's not just a place on a map or stories or, gee, that's terrible kind of thing. It matters. And that's my motivation. But also to demonstrate God's love to them. We serve everyone because we don't serve them because they're believers. We serve them because we are. So my outreach goes to any religion. They can be Muslim or Hindu or Jain or anything. And I will still give them some food or care, because it's not a requirement that for who they are. It's who I am. And that's the way it is with God. He reaches out to us not because we deserve it, but because of who he is. And so we reflect that. We do it because of who we are in him. No one can argue with your personal testimony. That's yours. And it might not have effects at the time, but it still gives them something to think about. Because if you can say, well, this is what God has done for me in my life, they can't argue with that. That's you, it's yours. But it still gives you a way to talk about how God is, what his character is like. We can try a lot of different techniques and things, training and learning how, but too many Christians haven't practiced sharing their witness. You really need to be able to do that, because at a moment's notice, you never know when the opportunity is going to come. Doesn't mean you have to go out every day and grab somebody by the shirt collar and say, let me tell you about my story. But there's going to be times, because people have questions. There's just going to be random opportunities, little windows, and you need to be ready to even do a short version of what he's done for you. And that's not hard. And nobody can argue with that.